This week, an exclusive first glimpse of the future of transport. Plus, we build a personal computer that you can wear. And is this the best pen in the world?
This week, we're looking at personal transport. In an ideal world, of course, we'd all be zooming around in jetpacks. However, they're too expensive, too dangerous, and can only fly for a measly 30 seconds. Thank goodness there's a load of other ridiculous ways of getting around then. But what's best? Well, we're testing the pick of the bunch before pitting them against each other in one big race.
And then we'll be showing you something that's so new, I bet none of you have ever seen one before.
We're the first people ever allowed to test this extraordinary prototype. Believe me, you're really going to want one of these.
The personal computer, probably the most important and versatile gadget around. Email, internet, videos, unlimited plugins, it's got the lot. PCs have now become so integral to our lives that ideally you'd want one with you all the time. You know, to sort of wear. But it's not as daft as it sounds. Type wearable PC into a search engine and you'll find that folks have been working on the technology for quite some time. In fact, I've got 169,000 results there. It's just that most of those projects are still, as they say, at the development stage. Time then for attempt number 169,001. So, how to boil down this lot and put them into something wearable, something like my jacket. Well, this is one way you could do it. Underneath this rubber shroud is my design for a wearable PC. That there is the brains of the operation. That's a processor there. There's your RAM that you find on a normal computer. All the kind of sockets and plugs and so on that you're used to are arranged at the top of the jacket. This thing here is a hard drive. I don't know if you've ever seen a hard drive before. That's what they look like. It's a 2.5-inch hard drive. As found in a laptop, so it's very small, and like the rest of the PC, it only needs 12 volts to work off, and obviously portable power is a crucial part of the mix. The sort of battery a wearable PC like this uses is that. It'll give me about between 4 and 6 hours, depending on what kind of applications I'm using. This machine is silent, and that's very, very important if you want a wearable PC. You don't want to be stood at a bus stop humming. Now, for the mouse, it's a pretty standard arrangement, although this is a little exotic, except this does not require a desk on which to operate it. You can hold it with one hand, roll it with a thumb, click the buttons like that. Now, things get rather snazzy now. Here's the keyboard of old. There's the keyboard of new. It's a microphone. My wearable PC design uses voice-activated controls. What that means is that rather than typing in the address for a website, I can just say that I want to go to a particular site, and my computer will magically take me there. I can do anything. I can execute programs. All I've got to do is say the magic word into that mic. Now, plugged into the back of this hulking great computer is an internet connection. I'll take care of that in one fell swoop by two magic bits of kit. A Bluetooth transceiver, which connects wirelessly to my mobile phone to connect to the internet. Now I come to my piece de resistance. I had to find a way of replacing this, which quite frankly looked ridiculous on my head, with another way of seeing the output of my computer. But more importantly, I needed to be able to look through that image so I wouldn't walk into things. And this is what I came up with. Check them out. A very cool pair of shades with a strange growth on the right-hand side. That growth is a projector. I don't know if you can see that inside there. And that projector takes the output of my computer via a video composite lead and gives me a desktop image of about that size, which I can see through as well as attend to. It's genius. Unfortunately, the image projected into my eye is too small for our cameras to pick up, but I can show you what I'm seeing by rigging up my wearable PC to a monitor, indoors, away from the bright sunlight. The voice interface is represented by this LED bar in the top left. I'll just switch it on and I'll see if it's working.
Now listening.
Go to Google. And there you go, a website. I can surf with my mouse now to make it easier to go to the news section. I could have anything I wanted, any website at all programmed into there, and it would pop up like magic before my very eyes. There you go, close window. Tell the time.
The time is 17:05.
This jacket can do everything my PC at home can do. But the really exciting thing about this technology is something called augmented reality. This will enable computer-generated information to be superimposed over whatever we choose to look at. All right, mate, yeah, no problems. I'll see you there soon. It'll stop you ever getting lost again. Navigation. Directions to Old Crown Pub.
Turn left and continue for 300 yards.
It'll show you around any device you want it to. Nissan Micro engine.
Nissan Micro.
Show battery wires.
Located top left battery.
And it'll even help out in embarrassing social situations.
Jason!
Hi. Hi. Computer match face.
Match found. Ewan Keel.
Ewan!
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Warning. 2 children.
Look, how the kids?
Oh, great,
Yeah.
yeah, everything's well, yeah.
That is the future. But for now, though, I have to admit my design does need urgent refinements in one area. The voice recognition only works in relative silence, and that can get embarrassing. Guys, I'm sorry. Could you just keep it down? I'm trying to use some voice activation technology over here. Internet search, hemorrhoid cream. Got it. Cheers. Thanks.
Now, back to personal transport. You've probably already seen all this stuff looking glossy in magazines, but what we want to know is, are they actually any good when you take them out of the studio and put them on the track?
Come on, Susie. I'm going to pedal now.
I can't go any faster.
Let's start with this one, the e-bike. It's basically a mountain bike with an electric motor.
I don't know why they've dressed it up to be a bicycle. It's got gears and everything on it, and yet all I have to do is press that throttle there, and I just power away. I don't even have to pedal or anything, look.
In a few months, you'll be able to buy an e-bike that you can use legally on British roads. But this isn't it.
This is the American version. It has a top speed of 18 miles an hour. But they reckon that's too hot for us to handle. So our British spec one has been tamed down to 15 miles an hour.
This little fellow is the Go motorboard. It's like those micro scooters that have been so popular for the past few years, but it's got a very discreet electric motor hidden under the board.
Do you know what? That looks like the best one.
Yeah, it's the easiest to use out of all of them, the smoothest. I mean, it's probably the girliest, but
Well, no,
it's quite cute. It goes at a reasonable pace.
I'd feel quite cool on that. I feel a bit of an idiot just being on a bicycle and not doing anything.
The e-skate may have a tortuously trendy name, but this powered skateboard is actually a lot of fun, despite being the slowest toy we've got here today.
You make it go by standing on the button at the front, and you make it stop. Well, I haven't worked that bit out yet.
These two Go-Peds may be a bit pricey, but you do get a choice of petrol or electric. You also get disc brakes and a top speed of 30 on the petrol version.
You do know these can go off-road, don't you?
I've heard, Susie. Shall we go as the crow flies?
Follow me, let's give it a go. Oh, you know what? My batteries run out.
See you later.
Yeah, looking good, Simpson.
Yeah, let's leave it to the experts.
The Wheelman is hardcore. It's nigh on impossible to ride, and even the expert who came to demonstrate it spent a lot of the day on the tarmac. It's been likened to riding a petrol-powered snowboard, which breaks your ankles every time you fall over. The throttle and brake are handheld, but it would make much more sense if they left both hands free to pray for your life.
You'll be pleased to know we saved the most bizarre till last, the Segway and the airboard.
Do you know, I feel like...
What?
It's like a Zimmer frame for the millennium. I don't feel very cool.
As the Segway neared its launch back in 2001, all the hype told us that the world would be changed forever and that a new era of transport was dawning. Well, you can imagine that people were a tad disappointed to discover that this change required them to ride around on an electric trolley looking like a Wearablepc. But we all cheered up when George Bush had a go.
The weirdest thing about this is you've got handlebars that aren't for steering. You steer by a little collar here. Turn it left for left, right for right, and it is the most unnatural feeling, especially at high speed. When you want to turn, the natural thing to do is go like that, and then you fall off. Oh, look, I'm terrified of this thing.
The airboard comes from Australia. A petrol-driven fan lifts it off the ground and 2 rotating brushes drag it forward.
To make it turn, you have to use your body. So you anticipate the turn quite early and then pull back and lean into it. Kind of like that.
It really does look the business, but it's actually disappointingly slow. I'd want a little more speed and exhilaration if I was stomping up 10 grand.
And let's face it, speed and exhilaration is what it's all about. And so a day of testing all these devices can only really come down to one way of choosing our favourite: a race.
8 well-padded riders on 8 expensive toys. 1 lap of the karting track. Place your bets, please.
These gadgets are all great fun, but as day-to-day means of transport, they're useless. They're not quick enough for a start, and it's illegal to ride them on the roads, the pavements, indeed anywhere public. Just for the record, the petrol GoPed that I was riding came home first, but quite frankly, I think we need to look elsewhere for our ultimate personal transport. Join us later to find out exactly what it is. Now, our good friend Tom Dunmore takes a break from editing best-selling Stuff magazine to tell us the essential info on camcorders.
For a long time, camcorders have all been about tape, but that's changing at the moment. We're starting to see some really interesting new ways of recording video. I've brought in this, the Sanyo Exacti. This is a camcorder that uses a memory card instead of a tape. That's the size of the card compared to tape like that. There is a bit of a problem because this costs about £500 and yet it only comes with a 128 megabyte card. If you record on the lowest quality, you'll get almost half an hour out of it, fine, but if you want top quality, sort of DVD quality video, it will only record about 4 minutes on that card, which is really just not enough, and you'll need to go out and buy a bigger card. The biggest one you can get is a gigabyte. That'll record about half an hour of high quality video. But it's going to cost another £400. So it's still in its early stages, but it's a sign of what's to come. But in terms of the best of what's out there at the moment, I've actually chosen 2 old school mini DV camcorders because they've been perfected now. They pretty much do everything that you could want them to do. My first one is this one from JVC. What I like about it is the fact that it only costs about £500, and unlike most, it's got this huge screen as well. If you compare that to the size of this Sanyo, which is a lot smaller device, but you'll see it's going to be a lot easier to frame. Next up is Sony's camcorder. Now, this is slightly smaller, but essentially pretty similar to the JVC. It costs about £750. But for that, you get a much more sophisticated lens. This is a Carl Zeiss lens. It also, one of the things I really like about it, has a touch screen display. So this screen, although smaller than the JVC's, you actually access the controls through it, which makes the camera really simple to use. This is one of a new range of DVD camcorders. This is my favourite one from Hitachi. Now, it's not a lot more expensive than tape. Rather than having to connect it up to a computer to edit things, you can edit them on the disc. Once you've actually done some shots on this, you can access a thumbnail of each of the different shots you've done and rearrange the order that they're in. And then the discs that it uses, which obviously, as you can probably tell from the size of this, aren't full-size DVDs. They're sort of more like mini discs. But that will store about half an hour of movies, and it will play back in a lot of home DVD players, but not all of them. This has a little caddy around it, which is a real pain to get off, but when you do, you'll see it's just a miniature DVD.
Dear Mr. Fisher, on behalf of my crew, I want to thank you. Astronauts have used Fisher pens on every space shuttle mission. They've been excellent, reliable tools. Sincerely, David M. Walker, NASA astronaut.
The jetpack can probably still lay claim to the title Ultimate Personal Transport Gadget, even though it's been around for over 40 years. But if you prefer to get your kicks a little closer to the ground, then you may wish to try a hover bike.
What? You don't know what a hover bike is? That's a hover bike.
You're looking at the only prototype of what could just become the most exhilarating gadget ever built. After 4 years of development, it's only just started test runs and already looks every inch the part. It works on the same principle as a hovercraft, with a large fan that lifts the bike off the ground and propels it forward at the same time. It may look great, but I think we need some crucial questions answered.
So, how fast can this go?
Potentially this one, when it's tuned up, should do about 50 miles an hour. But it's quite happy to sort of tootle around sort of 25, 30, 40, around those sort of speeds.
So is this quite sensitive then in terms of handling?
Very sensitive in terms of handling. It turns quite sharply. It will rotate on its own axis at a reasonable speed. And you can travel virtually in a forward motion facing any direction that you choose.
OK. Have a go?
Certainly.
Excellent. Pass me a helmet.
OK. Now, I've ridden a fair few motorbikes in my time, but I don't normally try standing up on them, so this should be interesting.
Pretty tricky to go in a straight line, I have to say. But apart from the noise, it's quite balletic, really.
can read Jason Bradbury's weekly Gadget column as well as finding full competition details on the Gadget Show website at 5.tv/Gadget Show.